Hey everybody, Steve here again with Autohitch.com, and today we're going to answer one of the most commonly asked questions online when it comes to car buying and selling. That is, what is my car worth? How much can I get for my car? And that's a great question, because when you're looking at cars that other people are selling, it somewhat just seems like it's easier to figure out if that's a good price or not, even as hard as that is. But when it's your car and it's your money and it's what you're going to put in your pocket or your bank account, there's just something that changes about it, and it just becomes more difficult. So what I want to do is share with you guys what I did when I sold cars, okay? And it's not KBB, it's not this book or this tool or that tool. It's just a simple process that everybody can use on free sites, not a dime it's going to cost you. And in actuality, later on in the video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw you something of value. I'm going to give you what I can't show you guys now, just because there's a sort of professional courtesy I don't violate, and that is what the price of the car is, your car, as it's being sold at the auctions right now between dealerships. Okay, that is the wholesale value of your cars. Now that's important if you're going to go to a car buying service. If you're going to go to a dealership and you're going to trade in your car, that's the price that they need to get that car for to make money on it. Now they're always going to try to get more, but if you have that number, if you are armed with that number, okay, it's not going to be a certificate like a true car. I'm going to give you a certificate and say, here, show them this, I can prove it. I can't do that, but what I can do is arm you with that number. And if you go in with that number, the dealer knows you're educated. The dealer knows they're going to get that car at the price that they would get it at the auction, which is, I mean, that's great. You know, that there's nothing wrong with that at all. They're making money on that car. So that's what I'm going to give you guys later on in the video, okay? But for now, let's dive in. Let's attack this really simple process, and let me see if I can help you guys come to the conclusion about what your car's worth so you can get the most out of it. And, of course, do it quickly, okay? First place, we're going to start Car Gurus. Now, you can do this on any listing site. Actually, if you took a VIN number of a car that's on Car Gurus and you just put it in Google, you'd see that it's probably on 15 different listing sites, from TrueCar to AutoTrader and everything, because that's what a lot of dealers do. They just blast it out. So a lot of these listing sites, you can use one or the other. I just use TrueCar because they've been doing a lot of media lately. A lot of people know of them, okay? I typed in a car here that's pretty common just to fill everything out. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through here, and it's pretty simple. This is the real world. This is what dealers are asking, right? Throw this out, this little tool, this little number. I'm going to show you why in a second, but this is what the dealers are asking. Think about this as like in comparison between college, right, and a job. This is pricing tools and looking through listings. That's the comparison, because in college, what did you do? It was about theory, right? What if, how, why. But when you get out in the real world, it's do it. It's get it done. I don't care about why or how. Produce, okay? These listings are the real world. This is what people are listing and selling the cars for. Now, yeah, maybe not so much selling, we could argue about that, but it's a semantic thing. But this is what people are actually expecting and trying to get for their cars, okay? Whereas a tool is just going to, you know, speculate and give you an average of, well, in Idaho, this car, I don't care, I'm in South Florida. It's a different market, right? So that's why look in your market. First thing to make note of is keep it within 100, maybe 200 miles at max, okay? 150, 100 is good. I would only go up to 200 if you're having a hard time, you know, populating it with your car, but I would never go outside of that. And again, that's the reason why the book value is like KBB. I never used it. I didn't use it for one single solitary car because it's a national average. What a car is worth in North Dakota has nothing to do with what it's worth in Southeast Florida, okay? What a car is worth in Alabama has nothing to do with what it's worth in New York City. They're two completely different markets, two completely different cars in physical environments even. A Florida car is not subject to the same winter that a car from up north is. So you want to keep your search localized, okay? So that's why you do that. Now, if you're having a hard time populating your listings, like I did with my car, it was a Tahoe, I had a hard time finding it. Enough of them anyway for this example, so that's why I used this Honda. But what you can do is you can expand that. So if you have a 2013, do 2012, but then also do 2014. Because remember what we're trying to do here, right? We're trying to gauge, we're trying to get an average. If you dip to 2014 and you don't go lower, you're going to throw off your average. So do 2012 and 2014 so you can still keep your average, your base, okay? Keep it in the middle. But that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to go through these listings. I'm going to start to learn, what is the mileage? How is that playing out with this? You'll see one that doesn't make sense. You'll see one with the same sort of mileage, same color, and the price is way off. So you're going to want to go into those listings and see why. Maybe it's because it has an accident, so you'll start to learn those things and you'll know what to look for. And believe me, you'll do it very quick. You won't be overwhelmed. If you think about, I have to go through every one of these, you don't have to go through every one of these listings. You only have to click on the ones that really don't make sense. You know what I mean? Or one that does make sense, ones that really like you. But you only want to click on a couple of the ones that don't make sense, because that's going to give you an idea of why. So the next time you see one where you go, wait a second, man, the mileage is really low on this. Why is it so inexpensive? You'll know right off the bat something's wrong with it, and you'll just you'll just continue on to the next one, right? So that's what we're doing here. Now, real quick before we move on to the next tool, which is eBay, I'm going to show you guys why this little pricing tool on Car Gurus is, how we'd say down here in South Florida, no bueno. If you go here, going down to yeah, here we go. So we're down in the disclaimers, right? Dealer service document fee of $8.95, electronic fee of $398.75, tax and registration. Okay, that's that's every car. Finance charges are not included in quoted price. All right. I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. It's right there. This good deal is because it's $954 below market value. Well, if I added that fee, or both of those fees, actually, not even counting the other ones, it's $1,200 difference. Well, now all of a sudden, what's going to happen to that good deal? It's gone. So, grain of salt, big grain of salt. Car listings are advertisements. This is also a tip for you if you're buying a car. If you're looking at car listings, they're advertisements, guys. It's designed, and gals, sorry, it's designed to get you in the door. Okay, so even as you're looking for here, that's why I'm not stopping at car listings for you to try and figure out your price, because they're not 100% accurate either. Okay, so that's that. So let's move on. I don't want to make this too long for you guys. eBay is going to show you, hopefully, if you can find some of your cars, it's going to show you real transactions. But what you want to look for here are green numbers. All right, black numbers are no good. Black number means it's still active, or it's been a closed listing, right? So first thing you want to do is type in your car. I just typed in cars just to populate it with cars. As you can see with this 1960 Project Corvette, I just typed in something to populate it with cars. But you want to type in your car here, price plus shipping highest first. If you don't do that, you're going to get a bunch of car parts, and you don't want to sift through all that, because they have a ton of car parts. Okay, like this 4-piece black carbon fiber side door. I don't know why that's listed as $15,000, but that's the kind of stuff eBay has a lot of. All right, and it's just completely irrelevant. So make sure you do that. Then you want to go down here to completed items and sold. You want to hit sold. Now it's going to auto check completed first, but if you just hit completed, it's not going to check sold. So you want to check sold. That gets you the green numbers. Green numbers mean documented sale. It means that it was either buy it now was sold, auction was sold. It was a documented sale. The value of that, I mean, it's self-explanatory. You know that that's what's a car sold. If you can find similar cars from you, then that's what you know the car sold for, and that's what you can base your price off of, along with the listings and everything else. These are also very good when you can find an individual transaction like this. If you can find one that's very close to yours, or even one that's a good gauge up or down, that's something you kind of want to print out, and you want to show someone who's actually going to look at the car. You want to take that to the dealership. You want to show that to someone who shows up to look at your car and say, hey, look, here's one that actually sold on eBay, and it's documented sale, and this is how I base my price. Be real, don't just match that price and say this is why I base my price, because they're going to look at it and go, there's no way that's the same car, and they're right. No two used cars are the same. So make sure it's a different number, and then justify why it's a different number, and it'll make sense, and it'll be hard to argue. Some people will try, but it'll be very hard to argue, and you can securely stand your ground on that price. Okay, so that is eBay. There aren't that many cars on here, so what you're probably going to have to do is a little trick of expanding the years. Go to 2012, go to whatever, if you have a 2013, but expand on the years, expand on some other things, and work your way out. But remember, don't go too far. because you don't want to throw yourself off too much. But by the time you get through some listings and you get to eBay, you'll figure out what a good average is, and where your range should be to find more cars. That is YouTube. That's not going to help anybody. Edmunds is pretty reliable. They're trustworthy, is what I actually meant to say. So they're not doing really shifty things like Car Gurus is with their price tool, but they're still going to try to get your information because they do make money off that. So if you use this "what is your car worth" tool, and I again use the Honda Accord, if you use this tool, by the time you get to number 4 here, it's going to ask you for email and phone number. Actually, maybe it was just email. I can't remember. But if you X out of it, it will give you this information. Okay, you don't have to use it. I didn't want you guys going here and going, man, Steve freaking sent us over this site and getting our information. He's probably an affiliate making money. I'm not. I'm actually now telling you how not to put in your information. So just X out of that and you'll get this information here. Now this is somewhat useful. Actually, what is useful to me is very interesting, is the car I base this off of. If you'll notice here, they're saying this is what other customers have paid, right? So this is like the market value. This is the average. Now, if we go over to the vehicle that I used in Car Gurus, if I can find it, and where are you? Where are you? It's here somewhere, guys. Sorry, I'm taking, oh, here we go. So if you use this vehicle, this is what I base it off of. It's selling, the price is $14,000, and they're saying this is a great deal because it's $15.90 below, right? Well, that is 15, almost 16, and this is almost, right, same price. So if you add that $1,500 and you add 15, that's what we are. I mean, it is what it is. These tools are pretty much all the same, guys. If you use one, you've used them all. I don't care what Car Gurus marketing says or their advertising says. If you use one tool, you've used them all. Either one doesn't really matter. But they're a really, I would say, like a weak guide. Just going through these listings and looking at these numbers yourself and getting a baseline is better than ever using any sort of tool. Okay, because it doesn't factor in the snow cars. It doesn't factor in if someone smoked in a car. There's all sorts of factors that it just cannot account for, that you need to, because whoever's buying your car is going to. Next one, of course, got to throw out TrueCar. They have used car pricing. Funny story, if I can find it here, there's a car. Hey, check this one out. 2013 Honda Accord. Okay, let me see. Does this vehicle look familiar to you guys? 13991. But wait a second. 13. Well, that's the story of TrueCar right there. It is what it is. But anyway, outside of that, a little interesting nugget for you guys. Outside of that is that if you use TrueCar to try and get some pricing, that's fine. Just know that they're going to, at every single turn, unlike Edmunds, they're going to at every single turn try to get your information. Okay, and I don't know who will call you from Edmunds, but I guarantee you the dealers or whoever calls you from TrueCar will be very aggressive. I have heard a lot of stories, both personally and just through looking through reviews online, that the people who get that information from them are extremely aggressive and they call for a long time. So just factor that in. I would personally stay away from it, but if you want to use it, I'm definitely not going to tell you not to. That's your prerogative. The last one I would say is, again, just a listing site, but it's Car Gurus, right? Why am I suggesting, not Car Gurus, I'm sorry, it's Craigslist. Why would I suggest Craigslist even with you have Car Gurus on AutoTrader? Because this is localized. This includes a lot of people around you who don't want to pay. Now, Car Gurus is free to list your car. It's actually a very good place to list your car privately, but a lot of people still don't know that and they don't use it. So they're on Craigslist. So it's a great place locally to find people who are selling their cars that don't want to pay AutoTrader. They don't want to pay Cars.com for a full listing. And this is going to get you your baseline. So again, you'll have something when someone shows up or when someone makes you an offer. You know, if you have your research from a listing site, right? Picture yourself ending up like this. Someone's made you an offer on a car, right? It's lower than you want. Say, well, here are my listings, right, for similar cars. Here's one that I found off eBay that's sold for this price. Here's what Edmund said, which that's here to with everything else, it's okay, but by itself, it's meaningless. But you can throw it in if you found some other factual stuff. So you have your Edmunds tool, and then you go on Craigslist and go, there's 2 cars within 10 miles from me. They're asking for this much. So this is what I think is a fair price. And if you've done that, you've given them little to work with to try and get a lower price. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That is how I did it. Now, again, I had that other extra tool too, which was the wholesale pricing, which I was able to use, which you can't use, but I'm going to hook you guys up with that. So if you thumb up for this video, of course, if I've earned it, you don't have to, but if you thumb up for the video and leave a comment for me on the vehicle that you need to sell, and you can just leave the VIN number. Okay, I need the VIN number because I can't take your word for it on the year and model. There's so many. There's cars that have 20 to 30 different trim levels. I need the VIN number, and then I'll be able to get you guys that information. Okay, and I'm just going to tell you what they're selling for at the auction. That's pretty much it. Yeah, and don't worry about, guys, don't worry about the VIN number if they're going to find my house. Can't find a house on your VIN number. Now, if you've listed your VIN number on a bunch of different sites along with your address, which I don't see why you would, but if you've listed your VIN number, then that might come up in a Google search, but that's just Google being Google. So assuming if you're a very private person, you're probably not throwing your address up with your car listings. All they're going to be able to find is your other listings. A VIN number doesn't give anybody any personal information about you. Okay, it's not your license plate. License plates keep secure. VIN numbers can't find you unless you have paired the two somewhere online at some point over the time you've owned the car. Okay, now 2 added things I'm actually going to get into if hopefully you haven't left us by now, and these are what you're going to do when someone contacts you about a listing. So the first person you're probably going to encounter is going to be the person who's going to lowball you an offer. You're selling your car, let's just say $15,000. Person writes you or texts you or calls you and says, I'll give you 12 now. And then what they'll do is they'll pause for a moment, and then they'll type in or something. They'll say cash, right? And that's the point when you should reply and you say, well, how about a check for the full amount? And of course, if they even respond, it's going to be negatively, but they'll probably just leave at that point because they know you're not taking the offer. And those are flippers, or those are other dealers who are just trying to get cars really easily. And the idea is if they contact 100 people, it's kind of like a scam artist, right? But they're not. They're just whatever. But you contact 100 people. If you get 1 or 2 to take the bite, you're making money. So you want to avoid those people because you're not going to stop it. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take the information that you've gathered from doing this research, right? Whatever it is, whatever you've compiled to come up with your price, and you're going to throw that at the beginning of the listing. You're not going to go in detail. You're not going to provide a bunch of links and do all this stuff. You're just going to real short, whatever it is you used to come to the conclusion, and you're going to explain your price. And that's how I describe it. Explain your price at the very top of your listing, because what's the most important part to someone who's looking at the car? It's the price. So explain your price, okay? And don't say words like firm, or don't be, harsh with it. Just explain why you think you've set a fair price. And that's it. Don't even say the word think. I'm sorry. Just explain why you've come to the conclusion that your price is the right price, okay? And that's going to drive a lot of these people away, because they're going to see that and they're going to go, whoa, I'm not, this guy's not going for it, or this woman's not going for it. Okay, I'm just moving on down the road. You'll still get some, but when I started doing that, that went way down. They're looking for people who type in 2 sentences or whatever, and just it look like they're trying to get rid of things quick. So if you start explaining things, they know that you're doing your homework, then you're not someone who's trying to do something quick. You're not their market. So explain your price, but like I said, don't use the word firm or no discounts or anything like that. And the reason why is because think of yourself as a car buyer, right? When you see a car that's listed, if you see it for $15,000, are you sitting there assuming I'm going to go pay $15,000? No, you get a little excited and you think, oh, maybe I can get it for 14. Maybe I can get it for 13.5. Maybe I can get it for 14.5. Just maybe get $500 discount, right? there's a little excitement there. There's a little bit of hope there that you can get that discount. If you put in words like firm and all this other stuff, you've ended that for people. And you've taken that excitement and that possibility away. And it's going to cost you calls. It's going to cost you text messages and emails and sales, because people, even if they'll pay that full price, it's just like the first feeling they get with you is that you don't work with them. You know what I mean? It's like a dealer who says, I'm not going to give you my price over the phone. Well, if you're not going to work with me over the phone, what's going to happen when I go there? Why would you all of a sudden change and become someone who works with me on everything? So don't be like that on the phone. I tell my dealers, don't be like that. I would say the same thing to you. Don't be firm and tough on the phone, okay? Or, I mean, in your ad, I'm sorry, because, you know, you're going to turn those people away. There are good people in there, okay? You're going to turn those people away. Now, the next part of that is if you're on the phone with someone who's a real buyer, okay? They might ask you either knowingly or unknowingly. Sometimes it's a strategy. Sometimes they just don't know. Sometimes they're just honestly asking. They're going to say, hey, will you take, you know, we take 500 less, you know? And again, don't say no. You're in sales now. It may be for one car. It might not be for many like I did, but it may be just for one car. But now you're in sales. And no is a bad word. Okay, you don't want to say no. So if someone asks you for that discount, how do you not say no? Right, double negative. How do you avoid the word no? But how do you also not give that discount? Because once you give that discount, you've now obligated yourself. That's your asking price. You've lowered your asking price. They're going to show up and they're going to say, "Oh man, I didn't see this. I didn't see this other scratch in the pictures, man. You know, you didn't tell me about this." And you're going to say, well, yeah, you know, it's in there. They're going, well, I don't know. I didn't see it before. Can you take a little bit of money off now? Because I got to get this fixed. And they're not going to get it fixed. But they're going to say, you know, I didn't know about this. Well, yeah, but we agreed to a price. You said you wanted 500. I agreed to that. Well, I agreed to that not knowing about this scratch, man. You got to hook me up here and give me some. I didn't know about this. And you know what? In all honesty, they're right. You know, your asking price was based on what they knew from the pictures. Now, you know, to a certain extent, they're not so bright because, you know, they're negotiating on something they've never seen before. But you also played not so bright because you're dropping your price for no reason at all. You didn't even get anything. If they're there, okay, don't give up. Here's another thing to remember. Don't give up your price. That's money out of your pocket. Don't give it up for nothing, okay? Don't give up $500 just to get someone to come look at a car. You haven't gotten anything for that. If it takes $500 to make a sale, that's a decision you have to make on your own. But at least you're giving up that $500 for something. You're getting money. You're giving up that $500 for a transaction. You give up that money over the phone, you gave up $500 to get an appointment. That ain't worth it. Okay? Get them there and then do your deal. Okay? So here's what I want you guys to do. You're selling a car, somebody asks you for a discount over the phone, okay? You explain your price. You do exactly what you did in your listing. You explain your price. Hey, you know what? Listen, this is what I looked at. This is what I saw. I called a buddy of mine that works at Chevy. I don't know. Hey, you can use my name. Steve at Autohitch. And I'll go, who's that? And then I'll go to my website and I'll get a little Google ping out of it. It'd be great. But you say, hey, listen, you know, I asked the guy, I looked at this, I did this, you know, I really think that that's the right price, that's fair, you know what I mean? And I'll tell you what, and I'm not talking to you guys, this is what you're saying to them, okay? And you say, listen, but I'll tell you what, if, you know, you go out, if you're able to find some other listings in the area that maybe I didn't see, you know, of similar cars and they're lower than mine, I'll be more than happy to work with you. Or if you want to come by here, you know, check out the car. If you find something that I might not have noticed, I'll be more than happy to work with you on the price. Okay? And notice what you've done there. You haven't said no. You've appeared very, very cooperative. Like just so open and honest and I will work with you. And all you've done is said, just show me a reason. Just give me a reason and I'm open arms. I'm open ears. I'm ready to talk. I'm ready to take money off, but not for nothing, okay? And that's the message you've sent. So if you're dealing with someone who's reasonable, they'll say, all right, and they'll show up. If you're dealing with someone who's unreasonable, they're not going to come. And guess what? You didn't want them to come because that's the person that's going to show up and they're going to say, they're going to find something else, all right? and then they're going to want more money off. I remember there was one time where some guy came all the way down from Alabama for a truck. It was actually a Suburban, really nice Suburban, and we had taken off $1,500 to get this guy down, right? Because we just wanted to turn it quickly. It was just an expensive truck for us, and we just didn't want to sit on the money, so we just wanted to get rid of it and get the money back to buy some other stuff. And we got this guy down here. We give him $1,500 off over the phone, and he shows up and he's looking around the car for like 20 minutes, right? Doing the I'm looking around the car. And that's also, just so you guys know, that's a dealer and a buyer tactic. They walk around, they don't say anything. What they're trying to do is hope that you'll admit to something wrong. Like you think they see it, so you're trying to preempt it and say, oh, by the way, it's a trick, guys. So just let them point out whatever it is they want to point out, okay? This guy comes in and he says, oh, there's some rock chips here in the hood. And now rock chips are the little things, rocks when you're driving on the freeway or whatever, right? They hit up and ding the paint. And it was only in the front. It like wasn't on the top of the hood. It was just like right in the front where the lip goes over the grill. And it wasn't even that bad. I mean, there were some rock chips, but he was getting a deal on this truck already. And I was pretty firm, and the guy I was working with at the time, he was pretty upset about it too. He's like, listen, let's just go, man. Let's just get rid of this thing, and it's okay. We ended up taking another $500 off, but it was the moral of the story. It was like, listen, you give somebody a discount and you open it up for them to show up and say, well, I agreed to that price, but I didn't know about this. And what are you going to say? I mean, to an extent, they're right, and you don't want to be in that position where you're not really right, and because then you're just coming off as kind of like a jerk, So no discounts over the phone, and just defend your price, and never say no. And if you do those things, okay, if you defend your price, if you explain your price in your listing and in person, and you never say no, right, and you don't give out these pre-discounts, you're going to be great. You're going to be just fine. Okay, so those three things. So anyway, like I said, guys, a little bit of a long video, but I hope it was informative. Thumbs up if you can. If not, that's fine too. I will leave room for the fact that I did not help you. So I hope I did. If you guys have any questions about pricing your vehicle, even if you didn't watch the whole video, you just have a question, that's no problem. I won't turn you around and say watch the video. Just go ahead and ask. I'll be more than happy to help. So Steve with Autohitch, I'm signing off, guys. Until the next video, good luck to you out there, and hope it all works out.